All right, hey guys, Jerry from Showtime Audio. Just wanted to show you our latest project. This is Brandon's gorgeous 2023 Ford Bronco Raptor. This thing's amazing. So it's all blacked out on the outside. It's got some beautiful red accents on the inside. You know, it's got the fender flares, the custom fenders, obviously bigger suspension, wheels. And then just, I mean, look at it. It's got all these beautiful orange accents, right? So it's got the carbon fiber, all the orange trim. It's got the B&O system. You know, so it's one of those, it's technically got the upgraded audio, but it is horrible. So we're gonna be changing all that. So we're installing a new 8-channel Mo-Bridge amplifier, which is a plug-and-play unit, swapping out all the speakers, adding rear 6.5-inch cans, because these normally come with a small 4-inch driver, and a JL Audio Stealthbox. It's actually a brand new JL Audio Stealthbox. We're excited to put it in because we haven't done one of those yet and we want to see what it can do. So these are the new kick panel speakers. So the client was partial to JL, so we're going with the JL Audio C2s. These are the 650Xs, and we've again machined one of our composite adapters that's completely matches the original speaker itself. And we've done our gasket material so that it's gasketed to the adapter. And then we have our deadener, which will go around the speaker as well as behind the speaker. And this foam will also create a seal between the adapter and the metal of the vehicle. We're also using a connector so that we don't cut any of the wiring. Everything on this vehicle is 100% plug and play and 100% reversible. So we also did C2s in the dash. So we did 3 4-inch coaxials across the dash. So we did the left, the right, and the center channel. And then we upgraded the kicks to the 6.5s, and we're gonna be putting pods in the rears to make the rear 4s a 6.5 as well. Now the Raptor does pose a little bit of a challenge because on the back, it has a cross brace where the typical Broncos do not. And so we're able to use this drop-in pod that a lot of the companies make. But on the Raptors, because of that cross brace, you can't do it. So either you put a 4 or you do what we're gonna do, which is we make this custom can with a bracket that bolts up as if it came with the car. So the speaker obviously doesn't come this way. When you buy it out of the box, it just comes with the speaker. But we go, again, machining an adapter, doing the seal, adding a disconnect, and all of this is to make it serviceable, right? So we can definitely just strip and cut and solder in wires, but on a lot of these new vehicles, we're trying to maintain the integrity of the vehicle by not cutting any wiring. So the nice thing about these systems is it makes everything plug and play. So we haven't cut, spliced, soldered anything. Everything is just literally a plug and play solution. So if it ever needs to get reversed, unplug it, put the stock speaker back in, no change to the car whatsoever. All right, so we have a lot of clients that either go through cars quickly, or you know, they only have the car for a few years, or let's say the car's a lease or whatever. So this allows us to remove it and move it to the next vehicle. The only thing we'll have to change is, depending on the vehicle, is we'll have to change the adapters and the connectors, unless it's a similar brand of vehicle where they're using similar speakers. Like let's say Ford uses some of the same connectors and speakers across many of their platforms, and so do the other companies. So if they stay within their brand, typically we can reuse parts of it, but otherwise we would just make a new adapter and a new connector and you're good to go. For this Bronco Raptor project, the client opted to do this brand new JL Audio Stealthbox. So this is JL Audio vehicle specific Stealthbox. So the nice thing about that, it's purpose built for this vehicle. It bolts to factory mounting points. As you can see, there's actually 1, 2, there's a third one down here, and then there's a pin that locates it. This thing is solid, right? So the other thing that the client wanted to go with is he went with the new Bronco Mo-Bridge adapter. So this is an A2B. A2B is the way that the radio communicates with the factory amplifier. This amplifier has everything built in. So now we're running completely active. The nice thing about this amplifier is it's all harnesses. As you can see, it plugs in literally as if this was the factory amp that came with the truck. But it uses all the stock wiring. There's plugs for, these are the 2 front speakers in the center channel. It's wired in for the sub, rear pods, the whole 9, right? So we did have to make a modification because he's using the JL Stealthbox. It's actually meant to bolt up to the factory enclosure, but because the Stealthbox is slightly different, we had to make a bracket in order to mount it so that the panel will still fit. The client did bring in some deadeners, so we deadened behind the speaker around here, and then we'll also be doing some more deadening on the floor. So a lot of times these vehicles, people ask if deadening is going to help, and it's a Bronco. It's not the quietest vehicle in the world. It's got big tires, roof comes off, all that stuff. And this particular one, we weren't going to do it per se, but when we took out the carpeting, because we had to run, so this is the harness for that's the power for the amplifier, and this is the harness that runs up to the front in order to plug in so that we can use all the stock wiring. But check this out. I don't know if you can hear how hollow that is. I mean, it is bad, right? So since we already have it apart, we are going to deaden the whole basically back section, which will improve that, and we'll show you a little bit more once that's done. So on the Raptors, this is the cross brace that they have that a standard Bronco does not have, right? So the speaker pod sits here, but it fits right in this cubby. The normal pod that bolts right in, that allows it to be a 6.5, extends out to here. So therefore you have to either remove this brace, which you're not going to do, or you have to make a custom pod, which is what we're going to do. And we'll show you more of that once it's done. So these are the JL Audio C2 4-inch. So same thing. So we on these, we typically trim off 2 of the ears and then they bolt up. We also use connectors as well. So these, same thing. They just plug in. So if you ever needed to, you literally take out 2 screws, unplug them, plug the stock one, 2 screws, you're back in business. They'll fit beneath the grill. And I mean, this is going to make huge improvement because now you have, typically it's coaxes and then the center channel. Now you have 3 coaxes in the front, the kicks and the rear deck, plus the sub. I mean, this thing's gonna sound amazing. All right, so this is the power wire that comes from the amplifier. Joe made this custom bracket for it, and it picks up a stock mounting point, and then he spaced it out. And then all the wire is dressed. You see it in the Tech Flex, and then it's heat shrunk. And then if you can see, it's just connected right to the battery. So everything is mounted, secured, and again, looks like it came with the vehicle. For the Bronco Raptor project, we had to make some adapter brackets because our traditional can pod that bolts right to the roll bar would not work because of the cross brace. So what we did is we made a template, as always, right? Well, first it was made out of cardboard. Then we made it out of wood just so that we can make sure it works. And now we made it out of aluminum. So this piece started out as a piece of raw aluminum, which we machined in-house. So we even counterbored. The roll bar has a small piece that protrudes past the roll bar itself. So in order for this to lay flat, we had to machine this in. So when we bolt it in place, it will sit flat against the roll bar. So right now we're gonna finish sanding them, paint them, and then we'll obviously bolt the speaker pod to it and bolt it to the vehicle. And so now you'll be able to have 6.5s in the back of a Bronco, which technically is not available. Not for a Bronco, sorry, for a Raptor. So a Bronco Raptor, as far as I know, there's no solution. All the pods will not fit. So you're stuck with those tiny 4-inch speakers in the back of your Raptor. That's not good. So this is our solution, and we'll show you once it's in the vehicle. So this is our pod, which we've loaded the JL Audio C2s into. And then so what we're gonna do is, you can see, this will bolt the pod, this bracket to the pod, and then this bolt is what will secure it to, there's 2 of them actually. There's a locating pin, which is tapped and threaded, if you can see, and then this bolt. All right, so the JL Audio Stealthbox fits right behind in the factory location. So we remove the stock enclosure and then add in the aftermarket enclosure. We replace the normal grill with this grill, which allows more base to escape, to get into the cabin itself. And but as you can see, other than that, there's no way you would know that that's not factory, right? So the other thing on these Broncos, and we talk about it only on the Raptors, they have this cross brace. So typically it does not have this cross brace. The pod fits in this spot here, and normally we replace it with another pod, which is bigger and allows for a bigger 6.5-inch driver. But in this particular vehicle, we can't do that. So what we ended up coming up with is we built these aluminum brackets that bolt up to the factory location and then mount to these pods that we use. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's bolted to the stock. It's a stock bolt, so we don't make any holes. So if we ever have to replace it, we can put it right back to factory. We also use a factory connector, so same thing. So we're not chopping, splicing any of the wiring. This thing is basically 100% stock as far as reversible, right? So everything that we did, we can undo and reverse. So if you followed us for a little bit of time, you know that we do a ton of Broncos. This is actually our first Raptor. We've done the 4 doors, we've done the 2 doors, we've done the bass audio versions, the Bang & Olufsen versions, and everything in between. So, but with these type of vehicles, just know that there's a ton of options for bass. So a lot of clients are like, you know, typically we've been doing the enclosure that is mounted to the tailgate, and it allows you to put either a 10 or a 12. That gives you a ton of output, but some clients want to use the usability of the vehicle, so they want to retain the ability to add, because you can add tables, you can add all these accessories to this tailgate, or they just want to keep the amount of space that the truck came with. So this is one of the other options. So using like the JL Audio Stealthbox, there's actually quite a, we make a box. There's a couple companies that make enclosures that will drop into the factory locations. There's even some people that modify the stock enclosure and swap the subwoofer for like a kicker or some other form of subwoofer. Gives you a little bit more bass, not the ideal setup, but you know, there's tons of options, right? As far as the rear pods, same thing. So a lot of people stay with the 4-inch, but we just feel that the 6.5 gives you much more sound, especially on a vehicle like this. When you take the top off, you need that larger diameter speaker to give you that sound, especially with the top off and the wheels roaring. You know, you want it to sound good. All right. So if you're interested in this or any of our other services, please give us a text at 773-489-7469. And if you like our content, like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.